Hello and welcome to the Playing Arts Podcast, where we put the spotlight on artists in our community. I'm your host, Andy Needham, and this week my guest is Kaloian Toshev, also known as MZK. I say Z, but MZK, an artist, illustrator, and designer on a mission to bring more beauty to the world with a passion for expressing the female form through digital art. Kaloian is also a real OG in the Playing Arts family, having created artwork for the special, future, and crypto editions. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hello. I'm fine. Thank you. And thank you for the invite.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, whereabouts are you in the world, and how old were you when you first started drawing?
Oh, I'm drawing since I was a kid, so actually never stopped drawing. Like, I've been drawing since I was a kid. I was drawing in school, in university, and even now. And I'm from Bulgaria, which is in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, well, closest I've ever been is Romania, actually, I guess. But a little bit above.
It's very close. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, my brother used to live in Bucharest, so yeah. Yeah, it's
cool.
Interesting to visit, actually. Yeah. So when did you, you've been drawing since you were a kid, so when did you become kind of serious about digital art? When did it become your career?
Well, the first moment I realized it's a thing, it was like I got featured on DeviantArt, like probably 15 or more years ago. And I was just starting. I just discovered the tablet, the graphic tablet for the computer, and I really like the idea that you can combine technology and art. So at some point they featured me as Daily Deviation, and I was like, okay, something is going on. People actually like my stuff, and that was the point that I started doing like regularly. And yeah.
Wow. Okay. And this is the Wacom tablet that kind of changed the game for me as well. It just made so much. Gave you this freedom to kind of like just draw as opposed to like clicking a mouse all the time and stuff. So that's changes the game. I think it also kind of helps with like RSI and stuff like that. I've been doing a bit of reading up on you, and you're, I guess, a bit of an entrepreneur. You got a couple of startups. So what are they first? And then how do you actually manage your day if you've got these things going on?
Okay. So I was working at a corporate job. Actually, it's Wacom. They opened office here in Bulgaria. So I started working there as a UI UX designer. But, corporate it's not for me. It didn't work out very well for me. So I quit, and some friends asked me to join their startup. I was okay. And when I joined, the startup name was Enhensive, and we started building a better resume for everyone. So it was like really interesting because they wanted me to take the whole thing, like to make the logo, to make the homepage, the UX, the UI, and yeah, I think it went pretty well. Actually, now Enhensive is like one of the main competitors in resume business.
Okay.
Yeah. And after that, I quit Enhensive and founded Noble Hire, which is in the same industry, HR industry. At the same time, with my ex-girlfriend, we founded a company, Lena, which is for handmade lingerie, which is like a passion project. And she's still working on that. I'm not working on that anymore. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, so in terms of the Noble Hire startup, and does that what's your role in that? Still doing UI and UX and stuff, or?
Yeah, UI, UX, and art direction. I've done node branding, and I'm also helping with the general strategy. Basically, we're trying to connect companies with people from the IT industry. And what we're doing is really good profiles for the companies right now.
Okay. And is that still a regular part of your day to day then, or are you just still more focused now on the digital art and I guess NFTs and things like that?
Yeah, I'm working every week on that, but
Yeah.
my main focus right now is digital art and NFTs. Yeah.
And this is something that you're fairly recent to, but this has kind of come in the last year or so. What was it then about NFT art that or NFTs that kind of made you sit up and take notice, having been a very successful digital artist for many years? What's prompted this new direction?
Yeah, but so NFTs actually help me to sell my works for a fair price. Like before NFTs, the way I earned money is through clients. Like a client came to me and asked me, "Can you draw us this or that?" And it's an awesome way to earn money, but you're not drawing what you're really passionate about. I'm not drawing the things I draw for love, for pleasure, and things like that. And when NFTs came along, it was exactly that. Like I can draw whatever I like, whatever I feel, and people actually like it and pay a fair price for that.
Mm. That's something I want to get to talk about at some point, is pricing work, and I think we can sort of get to that in a bit. But you're, like you say, it's so you're kind of allowed to do the work that you want to put out there, and it's your passion as well. I'm just wondering about, maybe we can take a look at some of your work on your website, or either on Instagram as well, and just kind of get a sense of your various styles as well. So this is your site, and you have gone from a more kind of vector style to something that's more, I guess, rasterized. So done in a kind of more, I'd say, sort of Photoshop as opposed to Illustrator when I say vector and raster. And so, I mean, but obviously there's sketches and things like that. So how has this style of yours kind of developed into where we're up to now? I guess, let's look, this is kind of like a good example, I think, perhaps of like, the journey and stuff. So is there any other visual that you want me to put up here just to kind of help describe this story?
Okay. This example with the black and white painting right now is a good example. Actually, I started drawing vectors, and this black and white is actually a vector. And it was really interesting in the beginning. I got featured in Behance a lot when Behance was like early, because I kind of discovered an interesting style. I started using my tablet to draw freely on Illustrator, and a few people only were doing that at that time. But the thing with that style was that it didn't allow me to be very expressive with the pen tool, because Illustrator at that time didn't have pressure sensitive. When you press on the tablet, the line is always the same. It doesn't go big or small.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I realized that's kind of restrictive. So I switched to Photoshop and started drawing the same style on Photoshop. And my first works on Photoshop were like pretty much the same as in Illustrator, like flat colors, and that's it. But then I started exploring the new tool more and more. I started adding shadows, and it became more like raster works. And after that, in the last 4 or 5 years, I've started exploring more with the iPad, which is an awesome tool.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine helped me develop a nice software for the iPad, which I started using for abstract shapes and stuff like that. And yeah, my latest works are a lot of them use that software. And lately, I'm trying to go into 3D. Like I've been wanting to go into 3D for many years, but the learning curve is like quite big. So like I've been watching YouTube videos for probably 1 year now. And actually, my first 3D work was that one for playing cards, actually.
Oh, definitely get to that. Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, let's come over to I want to come over to your Instagram actually, because you mentioned the iPad there, and one thing I absolutely love about your Instagram is these process videos that you have. We can just quickly click on one here, and you can see, and this is just you playing back what you've done in Procreate, but it's just awesome just to kind of see how the image develops right before us. How long would this kind of, how long would this typical this type of image take to create? What kind of time frame are we seeing sped up here?
Probably around hour and a half or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like before, it took me way longer. Like my older works, it took me like 5 or 6 hours to finish one work. And now, for example, the one you're seeing, it's like 1 hour or 2 maximum. And those that are black and white on my Instagram, they're like done faster than those that in color. Like, yeah. But yeah, usually the colorful ones are like 2-3 hours tops.
Okay. Wow. I mean, yeah, I just love them. I've been going through this, just kind of watching them all. What's your general process for creating just a piece of digital art? What are you starting with? Is it references and initial sketches, or how does it all begin?
Yeah. So basically, there are 2 approaches. The first approach is when I really want to have a concept in mind. In that approach, I sit down, make a few sketches, and I take one of the sketches that works that shows the idea, and then I develop it. And the other method is like the other case is when I just sit on my iPad after a long day. I feel tired. I just want to like it's an entertainment or like just to chill out. And I just start sketching something. I don't think about what's going to happen or what's going to end like. And after some sketching, I see that something is forming, and I start to follow that. And in the end, lots of my works are like just feelings expressed in a way. So yeah.
Okay. The one thing that interests me about your work and stuff is because you've had, I guess, numerous exhibitions in the past, and so what resolution are you creating these works at to be kind of printed, full for these exhibitions? They're massive. I just wondered what kind of scale you're working to, and how that affects your process as well.
Yeah, so as big as possible, actually. Like probably 10 years ago, I got invited in one of the first exhibitions, and the guy said, like, we need all prints in that size. And I realized that none of my works are that big. And then I decided to always work in high res. Mm-hmm. So from that point, I'm like working I don't know, like 500 to 5,000 to 5,000 resolution, something like that. And on the iPad, the thing is when you work in a really big resolution, it doesn't allow you to have a lot of layers, which is a problem. Yeah, it's really annoying problem, but I guess that's the limitation of the iPad.
Okay, so there is a trade-off. You actually have to really plan out the piece.
Yeah, but it's not that bad, because I always give the advice to younger artists to work in less layers when they're painting, because when you work in less layers, you can easily mesh things together. Because if you keep everything in separate layers, it kind of restricts you to combine things. So it's always good to work in less layers.
Yeah, I guess it forces some decision making and commitment as well. Yeah, so let's talk about there's a few styles that you've been playing around with, and we can come over to here.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at, well, we've got the 3D, and we've also got this kind of more we've got this abstract style in the middle, and this kind of really sort of sketched illustrative kind of style as well. So how have all these kind of developed? And we know that 3D is kind of emerging for you, but I see a lot of this abstract style in all over your work. So if you want to talk us through these styles and just how they're all coming alongside each other, I guess. Also, I'm really interested in how your focus is kind of kind of diverting in these different tracks as well.
Okay, so
sorry for the massive question.
The right one, no problem. The right one, the illustrative style, it's the oldest. It came from when I was illustrating on Illustrator, and there you use simple shapes and simple colors, and that's why my illustrative style looks like that, I guess.
Yeah,
and it's this is the fastest way I can do art. This takes less time than the other styles, but at the same time, it's not that colorful usually. And I don't know, I still use it from time to time when I just want to sit down and draw some, sketch something. I usually draw things like that, but I don't always show them. They're basically sketches.
Okay.
And and this is the style I'm currently using. I like that it's very colorful and have these abstract shapes in it. So sometimes you can lose part of the face or of the body, but fill them with abstract colors. And I really work with colors because when you have a lot of color, it conveys positive feelings. And it's good to. I prefer my works to be to convey that feeling, because in the end you want the art to feel better after seeing some art, I guess.
Yeah. Do you when you're working on these more abstract ones, are you working with the colors in mind straight away, or are you just blocking in the shapes and then adding the color afterwards? How does that all develop?
Yeah, I got this question a lot about the colors. So what I do is I usually start with the darker color. I use dark purple. I always use purple for the base, because purple is it's hot color. It kind of helps you create a nice female feeling for the whole picture. And then I slowly start to add other colors. And my idea is to add all the colors on the color wheel. It doesn't matter how many colors you use. If you use 5 colors, try to use 5 colors from all parts of the color wheel. Same works for 10 colors or for 3 colors. And when you just to have balance between colors. I think that's the most important, and that's how you have this coherent color vibe.
Just looking through some of these on Behance as well, and these have this is a collection that you've actually turned into NFTs as well.
This is my Genesis collection.
Very cool. Love the kind of accents and also the lighting effects that you have as well. And these, so was this all done in Photoshop? Yeah, looks like it from the tools that you've written over here. But
no. I used Photoshop in the end just to resize the images. It's all done in Procreate and this custom software that I talked about earlier, which is like basically a displacement map. You know, in Photoshop, the displacement map filter. So I asked a friend to develop a software that uses something similar, but way more complex. But I'm basically displacing few images, and that's how I get those interesting shapes. Then I import them. Then I import them back to Procreate and delete what I don't like, add a few new things. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, let's look at them again with that in mind. So this is, you get the breakup of these different shapes and things. So what are you, because obviously you need an input for a displacement map to work. It's usually a grayscale image. So something without any color. So you get like the different height information from blacks to whites and the grays in between. So what are you using for your displacements? Are you drawing them yourself, or you kind of, are you using kind of found textures and things like that?
I'm drawing them myself. Sometimes I draw totally abstract shapes and use them to display the other image, or sometimes I draw like portrait, and this is actually the displacement map, and I'm displaying something totally abstract. And in both cases, you have this really interesting effect. Then when you import it back to Procreate, and you start deleting part of the one image and the other, and you have a mix between those two images, and at the same time you see the girl, the portrait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So, and this is you, man. You love this kind of technology and art kind of intersection. That's so cool. That's really cool. When you're not like creating art, we can come back to that, but like when you're not doing that, what are you actually doing to kind of get away from all of this and just have in your downtime?
Well, mostly doing sports. I'm a big fan of extreme sports. In the winter I'm snowboarding, and the other time my latest passion is actually motocross and enduro. We're riding bikes in the mountains. Pretty awesome. I love it. And in the summer, I'm kite surfing. Hiking sometimes. This is like, but you can do this during the weekends. And during the week, I'm training martial arts, which helps me, get in shape for my mental health as well. And I really love it.
It's such a variety as well. I wish I could do that. I'd love to kind of get back into snowboarding and things like that again. Do you have a favorite of your extreme sports?
Oh, snowboarding.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've been riding for many years, and I still love it.
Yeah. What would you take out? What would you take away? Digital art, or being an artist, or having the...
Oh, that's a really difficult question. That's my two most favorite things, like drawing and snowboarding. So
yeah,
I don't know.
You gotta have one.
Okay, digital art.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I wasn't expecting you to answer that, but yeah. Okay.
So, but you can do digital art all the time, but I can snowboard only during the winter. So
yeah, exactly. So a good choice, perhaps. Yeah. I have some questions from our audience, and I'm going to try and get to them as we go throughout the show,
okay.
rather than just leave it to the end. So, what's crypto and NFTs like in Bulgaria? Is it quite a big thing, or do you have friends that are into it?
Oh, it's just starting actually. This August and September, people in Bulgaria starting to discover NFTs, and it's super early. And actually, I got invited to Bulgarian national television a week ago, and it's probably the first time someone talked on TV about NFTs.
It's the first time someone said NFT on TV.
yeah. And the guys, they contacted me and said like, "Can you come and talk about NFTs?" Like, sure. How many hours do we have? And they said like 15 minutes. And I was like, guys, we cannot talk about NFTs in 15 minutes. Like, there's so much to say about it, but it's TV. But yeah, it's super early, but I see a lot of people joining every day, a lot of artists, and it's getting better and better every day, and really happy about it.
Do you have any friends in Bulgaria who are artists, and have you kind of got them into crypto and things like that?
Yeah. I'm trying to help the Bulgarian artists to join the scene. I've created a group on Twitter that I try to onboard every new artist that wants to join, and we try to help each other in that group with everything we can. And so far, like, we're above 50 artists, and everyone is like struggling with his stuff. We're trying to help each other. It's really interesting.
That's really cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You are definitely into kind of new artist development. There's a whole project that you have going on for that, which we'll talk about a bit later on. Maybe we'll come back to some of your art too now and talk a little bit. We didn't talk about the 3D style, and that will kind of lead us into your card as well quite nicely. But you've been kind enough to share a bit of behind the scenes first. So let's just have a quick look. So this here is actually a frame from the card, I guess. And we have some, apart from this one here, this is just a really cool Procreate shot, but we've got some behind the scenes here of how you were developing the card or the artwork for the card. So I can tell immediately that you're using Blender for this. So what was it about Blender that made you want to start using that as your 3D tool?
Yeah, so I've been trying different 3D tools back in the years. Like, I've been trying 3D Max a long time ago. Then I've been trying Cinema 4D, but like, I always been so frustrated with the interface. I'm also a designer, and when I discovered Blender and started exploring Blender, it felt quite different than traditional 3D softwares, and it kind of clicked with me. I started enjoying it a lot. And the other thing is, like, you don't have to invest in expensive software. Like, it's open source, free. You just download it and you start creating. And in Blender, you have a lot of things. Like, you can sculpt, you can probably also the other software have those things now. But when I discovered it, like, you either download ZBrush or Blender to sculpt. So yeah,
I would say they're all pretty similar these days. It's just Well, it's I guess it comes down to price is a key factor, and what gels with you. And you said certain things about the interface of the other applications just weren't for you. And I mean, I'm the opposite. I'm a Cinema 4D user. It's always been a really good interface for me. Blender, opened it many times and just gone, no, don't like it. So, you know, it is what it is, each to their own. ZBrush, forget about it. That's just too many buttons down the side. But I'm interested in getting into sculpting and actually using an iPad for that. Is that something that you would consider now? Because you do a lot of female forms. That's your thing. You know, there are of course base meshes that you can use, but are you more into maybe sculpting it yourself and kind of, you know, as you would sketch out the form, maybe sculpt it?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to go in that direction, but I'm super early into learning 3D, so I'm not quite there yet. But I've been exploring, like trying on Blender. I've even bought a nice software for iPad. I forgot the name, but it's a sculpting software for iPad, which is pretty awesome. I see like a lot of artists doing awesome stuff there.
I'm going to say it's either Nomad or Forger.
Yeah, Nomad. Yeah, I forgot the name. It's Nomad is awesome. And yeah, but like sculpting is like I just started learning 3D, and then sculpt is totally different. So I have to start learning that as well.
Well, there's a whole new workflow of using 3D and an iPad where you sculpt it in Forger or Nomad or whatever, and you have, I think, because Nomad doesn't do UV unwrapping yet. You can use Forger for that, and then you can then send that into Procreate and then paint on top using the new Procreate, and that's just like pretty cool. I can see a lot of pieces are going to kind of come through that workflow. It's a nice one. So yeah, coming back to this work in progress. So let's just see. This is kind of interesting here. So this, do you want to just talk us through the images from left to right that we have at the bottom here?
Okay, I don't see the whole screen right now, but I think the bottom.
Yeah, it's probably quite small for you. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The bottom one is probably the illustration.
Yes.
So when I started exploring 3D with this work, I really wanted to convey my current style, the abstract style, to keep it into the 3D. So the way I thought this going to work is to have like different layers of 3D objects that parts of them are missing. This is pretty much the same thing that I'm using for my abstract style. And this is the first image was actually something I drew on the iPad and imported it into Blender using a plugin called Face Mesh or something like that. It's where you add a lot of images of someone's head and you sculpt a base mesh based on that images, and you have pretty much a face of that human. But instead using photos, I actually use that single illustration I did, and then apply the texture on the model. And after that, I start duplicating the head, hiding some parts with transparency, adding displacement, and just messing around.
And just messing around. Nice.
Yeah,
it's all a lot of fun. Let's just take a look at the card too, and see it there. So yeah, and there's also a lot going on inside, and a little bit looks like you got some dynamics simulation going on those spheres. They kind of bounce around a bit.
Yeah, that's me watching different tutorials on YouTube and experimenting stuff, and I just keep what I like and what I learned. And I really hope it's working out.
Yeah, it's a really cool card, and this is one thing that perhaps you said you were concerned about from moving from 2D to 3D was that you may lose your voice. So, you know, how are you ensuring that you don't when you get like going forward? I think this works. So, but
yeah, so because I think I have like really found something that I really like with the abstract style that we discussed, and I'm really happy with it. But I'm afraid when I go into 3D, it's not the same workflow, so it will change. So I really try to keep that idea of different abstract shapes and missing parts of the body. And I'm currently working on a new art that have the same principle that probably I'll release soon.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Something, and when you, and this is something for that will go on to be released as an NFT, or is it something else?
As an NFT, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you, one thing that I kind of admire about you is that you have a focus on a specific platform rather than feeling the need to go all over the place, you know, and you're kind of building a following on Foundation. Let's just jump over to there and we can just talk through some of the pieces that you have on there. So we can see some of the pieces that we've already seen, this early collection that you had here, and these were the first ones that you were minting here. I guess it might be worth talking about how you price your work and also the relationship you have with your collectors. There's a variety of different collectors here that I can see. And again, you know, building up this following as well. You know, a lot of people have just maybe a handful of followers on platforms like Foundation, but you know, this is quite a strong following, I'd say.
Thank you. About the following, I don't know. I'm focused on like connecting with people on Twitter, and I guess people just follow me on Foundation as well. And yeah, and about the Genesis collection, actually, when I first minted the collection, a guy named Blake, he's a collector and an artist. He's one of the OGs. He wrote me on Twitter and he said, "Hey, pretty nice Genesis collection." And while we were talking, he just beat on my works, but he got immediately outbid by someone else. Then he beat on another work, got outbid again, beat on another work. So Blake, I'm like really happy that he started this whole process, and I'm very thankful to him. I guess a lot of collectors were watching him, what he's doing and where he's bidding, and when he started bidding, like I got like Cryptojack bought one of my works, Norco guy bought the other, Nifty Whale and other, you know, whales and OGs, which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I had a quick look and I could see that there's a bit of a bidding war going on. That must have been quite exciting.
Oh yeah. When I minted the works, I tried to make a lot of hype around the Genesis collections. Like I've been posting like for a whole week on Twitter, on Facebook, using all the social networks, Instagram. And when I minted the works, I expected like all the people to start bidding, but it doesn't happen. Like for a few days, nothing happened. I got really depressed because I thought I've done all the marketing. So if no one's bidding, my art is not good enough. That's what I thought, you know. And I went to a camp with my martial art group, and while I was on the camp, this happened, and for 24 hours, all 4 works were sold out, and I was like super happy. I wasn't sure, like, is this real? Or I guess every artist feels the same way when they sell their first NFTs, and it's awesome feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Validation and just good feeling. I noticed that you, in most sort of instances, like you'd put them up and then there was a few days where it hadn't sold, and then you would reduce the price. So what kind of made you feel that you had to do that? You know, and obviously it kind of paid off because it, you know, everything sold out in the end, but just comes to the question of pricing, really.
Yeah, so that was super. I was super early in the space, so I thought maybe I should reduce the price. Probably it's too high. I'm not sure if this helped back then. Maybe I haven't been discovered by Blake or other collectors yet. I don't know. But about pricing, I think it's it's always like the discussion how to price your stuff. But I guess you can look pretty simple on that matter. Is you put a price if no one's bidding for like a certain amount of time and you're doing all the other marketing stuff. So the price could be high. Then try with a low price. And when you try with a low price and a lot of people are bidding, so there is interest, and you can try with higher price. And the best thing for foundation and using auctions is that you start with the price and people bid, and where the price is sold, this is your floor. Mm-hmm. So it's super easy to understand where is your floor. But this is now like in the beginning, it was a bit different because there were a lot of people like paying huge amounts of money for an artist, but that wasn't his floor. Like in the beginning, I saw people buying NFTs for like 100 ethers, and then the artist is releasing another NFT and he's trying to sell it for 2 ethers and he cannot sell it. Mm-hmm. But I think that now the market is much more stable and artists know where their floor is, so it's easier now.
Mm. That's interesting just to hear, because there is that. I guess like you can see a kind of pattern in the sort of way that the auctions end and stuff on your work. So. But yeah, it's always a tricky thing, I think, and it's just I think it just comes down to timing as well, timing the market and people sort of seeing ETH as not ETH, they see it as their currency, so there is that, and everything gets converted back into dollars or whatever, so the perceived value is different. So it's tricky. Yeah. It's a tricky thing.
Yeah. But, sorry. Yeah. This morning I read a pretty nice article by Robek. He's a big collector on Foundation. Robek.world, I think it's his Twitter handle. And he wrote an article about pricing and collectors, and you should go and read it. Like I'm talking to the other artists, he has some pretty easy methods on how to price your work.
Oh wow! Yeah, send it my way and we'll link it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Do you have a favorite artist?
Probably Ashthorpe or Gentin, Elisa. There's so many. Yeah, so many good artists. It's hard to pick one.
That's interesting because Ash has come up a couple of times, I think, and I love Ash's work.
I'm sure like a lot of Ash is amazing. Yeah.
I'm gonna find his site just so that we can. Because there may be people that might not be familiar. Actually, I haven't seen his site for a long time. He's changed it a bit.
Yeah.
My goodness, it takes a while.
As well.
Takes a little while to load, actually, but I think he's got a show reel or something. There's so many like amazing pieces of work that he's been or projects that he's been involved in, and I mean. Most notably, I guess, it was like kind of UI, FUI kind of design and things like that. But then creating like all kinds of sort of short films, Ghost in the Shell, really influential, and his short films as well. But I'd say, I recommend people to come and check out Ash's site for some inspiration. He's just awesome. Right. Now then, back to you, sir. I think I think it's probably time to talk about. I just want to come back to. I want to come back to playing art stuff because we mentioned that you've created for other editions as well, and let's just have a quick look at your artwork for the special edition. So here we have Queen of Hearts, and this was this the first? Must have been the first one that you worked on.
Yeah.
How did this all come about? How did you become, involved in playing arts in at all?
Yeah. So I remember when Playing Arts released their first or second edition, and they gathered those awesome artists that I've been following for years into one project, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And like some time after that, they released this competition where they have a competition for every card. So I applied for Queen of Hearts, as I'm drawing female portraits mainly in characters, so I wanted to make a queen. And I submitted my entry, and they really liked it. They chose my work, and yeah, that's how it happened. I was really proud of that. I think this is like a big achievement in my life, because the thing with playing cards is like they always manage to gather those awesome artists into one project, and yeah,
totally, yeah. I think that's awesome, and I also really like what you did for the Future edition too. Let's just come over to see this deck, and as we scroll through, we got to go down to the Queen again. It's Future 2, isn't it? Chapter 2.
It's Future, yeah.
So, do you just want to talk about how this one came about too? Here we go.
It was pretty much similar. I think it was competition again, but this time, because I was part of their first edition, they actually invited me to take part in the competition. Uh-huh. And yeah, of course, I really loved the project, and I was like, okay, I should do it. Because in general, I don't like competitions and contests, because the thing with the contest and competition is that you have many artists that are drawing on one subject, and then yet the best one wins, but not always. Sometimes like the winner is someone that drawn something good, but with like a better social idea or something like that, and he gets to win the prize. And there is nothing left for the others that spent so many times on working on their works. So I've always preferred to find a client and to work for a client than join competitions. But with playing cards, it's different. It's a passion project. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the crypto, presumably because you'd done, two decks, you were in on the list.
Yeah. So with crypto, it's like I was already in NFTs, and he's the founder of Playing Cards. He just contacted me. He said, we're thinking about doing Playing Cards crypto edition. We really want you to be part of that. And I was super happy that I was actually invited. And when I saw the other artists, it's people that I've been admiring for years and years. And now I'm together with them in one project. This was really huge for me, like big milestone.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you a question, and it's also one that's been asked by the audience as well. Have you got a favorite artist in the crypto deck? I guess I can give you a refresher right here.
It's either Mad Dog Jones or maybe Pac.
Which deck?
Pac,
okay.
Pac, Pac is innovating a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Mad Dog Jones is pretty awesome. I always liked his works before that, and now he's killing it. Also, Net Graphics, actually. Net Graphics works are pretty awesome, and he's found like a really good niche with NFTs, and his works are even better now.
Yes, yeah. We've talked about Ness on the show before. Amazing color palette. Yeah. And so when you saw the lineup of crypto edition artists, was there one in particular that stood out for you that you were just like, wow, I'm going to be alongside that? Obviously it must be because when I look at the other decks, I'm like, oh my God, there's like, I mean, one of my favorite artists is Joshua Davis, and he's contributed to a couple of decks, I believe. And, seeing some of these, there's a whole, I mean, the directory of names in there is just ridiculous. And, that's why behind me, got those decks there, just it's just amazing just to look through. So, but was there a particular artist in the crypto edition that kind of made you sort of jump out of your seat a bit and think, oh my word? No.
Probably Robert Trevino. I'm not sure. I'm just searching for the right name, but I think it was Robert. Robbie Trevino. I've been a fan of his for years, and to be in one project with him was like, wow. Baugasm as well. He's also in Eastern Europe, by the way. We've talked a few times, and I always admired him. And when I saw that he's part of the project, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
Vinny Nasu as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's a little cluster here, Aces and King. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll should have some news on Baugasm at some point, so stay tuned for that, everybody. But yeah, excellent stuff. Yeah. So there's something that I guess you use your art for getting messages out too as well. One piece in particular, it's something that I noticed on your Instagram. It's kind of important, I think, to use your voice and things like that. And this is about like domestic violence. So do you want to just sort of speak about this piece?
So this is actually an older work that it started as a sketch, but I liked the idea and just left it like that for half a year or something. And recently in Bulgaria, there have been some domestic violence cases and murders, and it became kind of hot topic. And I realized that actually, because of COVID, this is not a local problem; it's a world problem. So I felt this is a good time to post this old work and just send that message out to help the cause.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell from the description, you're quite passionate about that. You have a strong feeling about it.
I always like, you can see on my website, I refer women as queens. I try to always take the queen in playing cards projects. And I think that men should protect women at all costs and never harm.
Yeah, you have it's kind of like an iconic feature of your work is like a little crown over the head of the women, and I guess that's not big enough, but we can see it. You can see it here. I think something that something quite fun actually that I noticed on your Instagram as well was I'm going to try and find it. I think you'll know what I'm talking about. It was. Where did you put it? Where is it? It's the filter, dude. The little filter.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. So you've made a little Instagram filter, and let's just see you modeling it for us as well. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, the crown is. I'm not sure when and how it happened, but I kind of needed something to draw like something on top of my works, and it kind of happened to be a crown. Like it's not something that I intended to do, but now I feel like it aligns a lot with my vision that every woman should feel like a queen. And yeah, I try to add the crown on every work if possible. And yeah, when the filters came along, actually there was a tool for us, the artists. I just tried that, and yeah, people liked it. People were sending me videos with crowns every day. It was really awesome. I should do another one probably.
Yeah, definitely. And so, did you put that together quickly in 3D, or like how did what? Because and what's the software that you use to make filters? I can't remember.
Spark AR.
Spark AR, that's it.
Yeah. But the crown, I model it in Blender as well.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my first tries on Blender.
I'd like to see one that's like more like what we see in the illustrations and stuff. I think it'd be really cool to see. Yeah. So I think there's something that we touched on earlier, and that was your wanting to have or you wanted to boost artists, create a launch pad for artists, and there's a project that you're involved in now called Sublimes. Do you want to just talk about that, and what's your involvement in that project?
Yeah. Okay. So it's Sublimes, and Sublimes we want to elevate artists. We want to boost artists and to help them find collectors and get more exposure. And we do that by basically invite our artists to our Discord, and through community voting, we select the best ones, and then try to push them to influencers and collectors. And the first step in the whole process is a drop, that I'm the artist of the drop. And yeah, that's basically it. We'll see. It's pretty awesome project, actually. It started like, we gathered with World of Nfts, which is a friend of mine. He's an influencer in NFT space and a collector. And he actually has this vision as well. He's trying to help a lot of artists sell their one-on-ones. Like basically he's using Twitter to promote artists all the time. So we met together and we started talking like, let's do something together. And this is how it started. And in the beginning, we wanted to make like a cool PFP, like to make just cool art, but quickly realized that this is just not enough, and maybe we should go into utility. And the best utility we can think of was actually do what we're already doing. Like he's doing that already, and I'm an artist as well, helping local artists as well. So we started doing that, and I think it's going pretty well. And we're aiming to release it very soon, probably in a couple of weeks or so. And it's been a bit crazy actually, because I'm artist, digital artist, and into one-on-ones, and this is my first collection I'm part of, and there was a lot of things we had to figure out, like just like product-wise, how do you make a collection, like how the whole thing works. And it turns out you have to draw in a special way, like you have to think about layers, about all the different traits, how are they going to mix together. And then you have marketing, how do you reach people, and so many different stuff that I haven't been part of. But the thing here is that we managed to gather a pretty nice team that have a lot of experience in building products and marketing. So yeah, I'm confident.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. I was just while we were talking earlier, I just was scrolling through the website. Maybe we can just take a step back and have a quick look again now that we've got a bit of context. So this is an example of the work that you've been generating. Does that play? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll turn the sound off. But okay. So yeah, I mean, oh man, got a whole film about it. This is awesome.
Thanks.
I love this kind of stuff. Are you using when you're creating as well? I wanted to ask, do you use any custom brushes? I know it's off topic, but like off the current topic, but I guess you.
Yeah.
Or do you just use the stock stuff that's in part of Procreate?
Most of my brushes are actually stock brushes that I've modified, and so basically they're custom. But I just started with something basic, and in time I want to modify it a bit, or. But like Procreate has like a lot of really good brushes. So
yeah, pretty good out the gate. One thing I do love about the way you use a particular brush is it's almost like using spray paint to do fur coats. It's I've seen it a couple of times. It's just like such a cool technique. I'll try and find an example so we can share it. But I think actually it might have even been on. It might have even been on this board here, and we'll come back to here. Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Thank you.
I love it. Right. Let's get back to the Sublime's project. So yeah, here we can see. So you had to really think about the layering of this and all the various still attributes and things that are going into this. How long has this taken you to develop?
Well, I've been working on Sublime for almost 2 months, probably, and I really wanted to not go into building a face and then you have the accessories and the algorithm just randomize the accessories. I wanted to do something similar to my style and to have when the algorithm generates, to have this generative feeling. And that's why I went to, for example, the face has holes in it, and then you have some abstract background and abstract hair and things like that. And yeah, I think it went pretty good in that direction. We'll see what people will say, of course.
Yeah, of course. This is the because one thing that's I guess is this. It says it's a launchpad for artists into the metaverse. Is there some kind of like metaverse kind of like physical? Well, this sort of metaverse being created around this. Then is that?
Well, no, but when we were thinking about it, we realized that like the way NFTs are going is like probably in the future there will be like some metaverse, and all these NFT projects that are created right now will have like some kind of existence in this metaverse. For example, if you take an ape, I'm pretty sure when they import it in, for example, decentralized, they'll import like 3D models and you will be able to use your NFTs there. So, and what we're thinking is that like when in Web 2, the builders of Web 2 are the developers, but in Web 3 and in the metaverse, the builders actually will be the artists. Because when you have a virtual world, all stuff are, they're visual. So you need a lot of developers, but at the same time you need a lot of artists to create those stuff. So yeah, we think that it's good to help artists to reach that point where they create for the metaverse, whatever it looks like in the future.
Yeah, it's sort of future proofing the future artists coming up. That's interesting. That's it. Do you spend time in the metaverse yourself?
Yeah, I've like I've tried Decentraland and Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not my thing, but I've actually tried Second Life. It's like probably the first metaverse. I've tried Habbo Hotel many years ago. Yeah, it was really awesome. um, I've tried Fortnite, probably the best metaverse actually. You know the concert that this famous rapper did in the game, which was like, this is actually what the metaverse is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the metaverse concept is pretty interesting. We'll see where it goes.
I guess so. Yeah. Do you have a VR rig or anything like that? Is that something that you're?
No. I guess this is the biggest issue with with metaverse right now, is because there's this missing point where the VR sets are not accessible to everyone, and they're like big chunky hardwares. But I saw news recently that some company is working on a small lens for the eyes where it gives you the whole VR experience, which is, if they do that, we're done. We're like directly put to the directly put to the metaverse.
Wow.
Which is kind of scary, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like maybe augmented reality as well is going to play factor in things going forward as well. Yeah. So, okay. Do you have any thoughts on, the future of NFTs?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're here to stay. That's not debatable anymore. But I think that in the future, everything's gonna be NFT. Like social media, your profile will be an NFT. Like your posts will be an NFT. You have a coin on your profile, things like that. And probably your real estate will be NFT. Your car will be NFT. I believe that. And right now, NFTs are mainly art, but games are getting it, and then probably metaverse, social media, music. I think NFTs have the potential to reach mass, like the average user, because crypto is mainly for people that want to be part of that has interest into investment and money. And the average user is not interested in money, in investing and trading in general. So yeah, but NFTs, they'll touch everything: movies, music, whatever.
Yeah, there's massive scope for sure. So I think it's probably. I think I'm coming to the end of my questions, and I think we've actually touched on quite a lot, or touched on everything that was asked in the channel as well. So I think one thing I would say is because you're going to come back and just probably end on this, because you're, of course, building community with this Sublime project. There was one thing that I did want to come back to on that, and it is the Sublime Formula, because it's not just about you. It's not just about you and this first drop. There is this whole kind of thing going on. Do you want to explain this?
Yeah. So right now, I'm the first artist in the first drop, but the idea is here to in the second drop there to be 10 artists making, like, for example, 1,000 NFTs, and then on the third drop there to be 100 artists, and in the fourth drop 1,000, and so on. The idea is to get more people, more artists into those collections, and to be able to boost more and more artists to collectors, and to exposure, and to be successful. And even if we can to actually bring more artists into the whole NFT scene.
Yeah. It's pretty cool when you start diving into it, and I think that's awesome. If you're gonna, when you're helping out your friends get into NFTs and stuff like that, what advice are you giving them to, give them a safe and like a good start in this whole thing?
Yeah. So basically, probably the first thing is it doesn't really matter what platform you're using. The important thing is to be on Twitter and to connect with people, to try to find people that your art resonates with, and potential collectors, of course, and try to be friends with these people, like build anything and talk to these people. Like, don't try to sell them stuff, just be a friend with them. And and the other thing is go for scarcity. Like especially in the beginning, don't go to a platform and mint all your works. Just try with 2-3 things, like Genesi drop, and then try to sell them, to find your collectors, to find the people that like it, and after that you start minting more and more. But don't go into like minting your whole portfolio. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So and it comes back to a point that's been made a lot. Is it's all about kind of making those initial connections, and building. Just, I guess it's just like, friends almost, and kind of community and things like that, and just engaging. Rather than forcing anything upon anyone, of course. So I think it just kind of keeps it more fun and allows you to just focus on creating the good art that people will do. So yeah, thanks so much for coming on and being an awesome guest. I've just loved getting to know you a little bit better as well, especially finding out more about all these like sports that you do and things like that. Just feel that's awesome, and managed to put you on the spot as well about about those. Everyone can follow Cal at MZK Visuals on Twitter, and do go and check out Sublimes as well. It's a really cool looking project. So as always, for those listening live, you can claim your POAP after the show. We'll be giving out some codes. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports Playing Arts Project and everyone who's part of this community. It means a lot that you tune in and share this with us. This is awesome. So Cal, thanks so much for your time. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Then all that remains to say is I'll see you in another episode of the Playing Arts Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye.